So, as dogs age, diminished joint and hip health may lead to joint pain and thus reduce a dog's activity level. Such a reduction in activity can lead to other health concerns such as weight gain and lethargy due to lack of exercise. Maybe Mr. Spencer's a dog. A study is to be conducted to see which of the two dietary supplements, glucosamine or chondroitin, is more effective in promoting joint and hip health and reducing the onset of canine osteoarthritis. Researchers will randomly select a total of 300 dogs from 10 different large veterinarian practices around the U.S., around the country. All the dogs are more than 6 years old and their owners have given consent to participate in the study. Changes in joint and hip health will be evaluated after 6 months of treatment. Notice they've taken across the country so that we can generalize to the country for dogs that are 6 years and older. All right. So what would be an advantage to adding a control group? So the purpose of a control group is to provide a baseline for comparison so that we can determine whether or not the changes observed are due to the treatments, in this case, in the dog's health, joint health. Always start off with the sentence stem wherever possible. It lets the reader know that you know what's going on, even if the rest of your verbiage isn't perfect. In this case, we will know whether or not the changes in joint health are due to weather or due to the treatment medications. For instance, joints are typically less painful during warm months, so we wouldn't know if the dog's joint pain responses were due to the weather or the treatment if there were no control group. Part B, assuming a control group is added to the other two groups in the study, explain how you would assign the 300 dogs to the three groups. All right, you could put the names in the hat. I chose not to because there's a whole bunch of Rexes, Fluffies, and Kings, etc. So the dog names tend to repeat, so I'm going to assign all the dogs a unique number, which is more difficult, and I have to be really careful. So I would assign all the dogs a unique number from 1 to 300. I would place all of the numbers in a bin and mix thoroughly. Very important, you assign them all, you place them in a hat, you mix thoroughly. The dogs associated with the first 100 number drawn would receive glucosamine. You have to have the word associated because you're not doing the 100 numbers. The dogs that were associated with the next 100 numbers would receive chondroitin. The remaining 100 dogs would be placed in the control group and receive a placebo. And it really didn't matter which order you went in. If you wanted to do placebo first or second, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you have an assignment. At that point, because of the way I did this, all groups are exactly the same size, and I have now implemented my control group. Rather than using a completely randomized design, one group of researchers proposes blocking on clinics and another proposes on blocking on breed of dog. How would you decide which one of these two variables to use as a blocking variable? Once again, employ this sentence stem. We would block on the variable that we would believe will have the greatest impact on the study. I would block on breed of dog because certain breeds of dogs are more susceptible to joint issues due to their size and genetics. I believe that clinics across the nation would have similar treatments, and therefore I would not block by clinic. I block by breed because I believe breed of dog would have the greater impact on the study. All right, so that if you had something similar to that, you should get full credit. This is one that if you rely on your sentence stems, you should do very well on. So one of the questions that popped up in the chat is, do we have to have an example as to what we're controlling against? And the general answer is yes. You need to have a such as. And as long as it's reasonable, that's fine. I chose weather. You could have chosen age. You could have chosen something else. Weather was easy for me to understand, but an age of dog would be, you could say, hey, we're going to have a control group. And that's because as the dogs get older, we know that their joint health is going to decline. So we'll have one group that doesn't get it. So we'll know whether or not it was due to the dog's aging or to the medical situation that resulted in the change that we were observing. Perhaps it's a time of year when the dogs stay inside and their joints get more stiff than when it's time when they're able to go out and play. It can be all sorts of different reasons, but we do typically need a such as or some example.